Well, hello and good evening, and welcome to my first live stream. Now, I've done live streams before, but I want to do some regular live streams. I'm not sure how often, maybe once a week. And the idea is to talk about a topic and to, just kind of have a chat about a particular topic and make it a kind of a weekly or a regular thing. So, welcome. If you are watching this on catch up, then please do hit like and subscribe. And I want to sort of just explain what this video is about, why I'm doing it, and just kind of go through a few housekeeping things. So first of all, I did a video back along about Stephen Ridley, which is the chap hopefully you can see on the screen at the moment. And I got quite a few comments and views regarding it, because if you do a bit of searching on Stephen Ridley online and on YouTube, you'll notice there's quite a lot of people that are talking about him in quite a negative way. There is a lot of talk of his piano school, if you like, as being a scam and a front for Scientology. So I want to just sort of stress from the outset that this video isn't about Stephen Ridley's links to Scientology or his course in terms of it being a scam. That's maybe for a separate video, but this is more to do with his teaching philosophy and addressing some of the things that he says, because as a piano teacher myself, there are things that he has said that I take issue with, and I want to sort of address those and talk a little bit about my own teaching philosophy, how I approach teaching piano. Now, obviously, all teachers are different. Everyone's going to have their own teaching style, but I think there's always a unified kind of theme amongst all teachers, really. So I want to just kind of address some of those things. Now, before we get started, I'm just going to very quickly, I've just got my phone to hand. I just want to check that everything is looking okay on screen. So let me just do a quick little check in there. There's no one actually in the chat at the moment, which is not a problem at all. So excellent, great. So things are looking good on the screen. Everyone can see, because I'm quite new to StreamYard, so you have to bear with me there. So yeah, as you can see here, it says there's two videos that I want to analyze here. Now, Stephen Ridley is very charismatic, and you can tell that he's a natural kind of salesperson. You know, you could plonk him in a car's sales showroom, and you can imagine him there. You could imagine him in a posh watch shop, and you can imagine him there. He's got that kind of mannerisms and character, and this is, you know, this isn't a character assassination here. This is just first impressions that he is charismatic. You know, very, very different to me. I'm much more lower tempo, if I can use a musical analogy there. So the first video I want to show you is this one, and I'll play it, and I might just stop it at points just to add some commentary. And then I'm going to talk to you about why I've got a few issues with some of the things he says. So let's pick up on this first one.
Most people don't realize that they could play hundreds of songs on piano in like a few hours.
Okay, there's my first stop. So my question is, why would you want to play 100 songs in a few hours? Why would that be something that you would want to aspire to? And when he says play 100 songs in a few hours, I assume he means just the same chords in the same key, because not all songs are written in the same key. So you might have a song in C major, you might have a song in G sharp minor. And if you don't know what any of that means, then you're going to have a hard time. Now, yeah, okay, you could play 100 songs in C major, but you're really, really neglecting just the whole other side of music. And so I'm not quite sure if there's a really good reason why you would want to learn 100 songs. And also, how are you playing those songs? Are you just playing the chords? So you could play C, G, A minor, F, which is your 4-chord progression that he's referring to. You could play that, and then what do you do with it? How do you make it sound musical? How do you play the chords? Are you going to play them just block at a time? Are you going to decorate them and make them kind of more complex with little arpeggios? In which case, if you're a beginner and you've got no technical skill, you ain't going to be able to do that, really, are you? Where's the melody for these songs? Are you singing the melody? Because he does a lot of singing as he plays. So he's assuming that you are going to be singing the tune. Otherwise, you're going to have to play the chords in one hand and you're going to have to play the tune of the song in the right hand. How does that work? Because you've got to be well coordinated there. So a lot of that doesn't work, but let's carry on. Now, this is the interesting thing about memorizing.
Instead of memorizing a song, look, memorizing, especially as we get older, takes a really long time, and it's also really inefficient. Imagine I teach you English and you're going to learn English by copying what I say. With enough time, you might be able to sound like you're speaking English, but you actually don't know what you're saying. You can't think in the language. You can't express yourself. And it's the same.
Yeah, now that's a really important point that we'll come back to. It's true. You know, I could teach you how to speak French by getting you just to copy every word. Reminds me of that episode of Friends when Phoebe's trying to teach Joey French. But you could learn one word and you could just do it by rote, if you like, parrot fashion. And you could say all the right words, but you're not going to know what they mean. You're not going to have any understanding of it. It's just going to be words that you have learned to put into a sequence. You don't understand the vernacular. You don't understand the colloquialisms and the subtleties of the language, which is very true. And that's what he's saying here, of which I agree. You know, I do agree. And then he starts saying about how it's the same in music.
Same in music. A lot of people spend weeks and weeks, months and months memorizing versus just going through a very simple way, step by step, 10 minutes a day, really how to articulate and speak with music.
Okay, so I got a little bit of a problem with this wishy-washy language. So music, you do have to use your memory in music. Now, you learn to play music from reading music, and then from there, you start to kind of build up muscle memory. Your fingers start to develop a kind of a sense of a muscle memory of patterns, because music is pattern-based, and you start to build up your memory. So memory in music and memorizing things is not a bad thing. In fact, it's to be encouraged. You've got to be careful not to memorize it wrong. So you have to really learn it thoroughly inside and out before you can start doing the memorizing bit. So I kind of don't really agree with that. And then he starts to sort of talk about how you could do that, the memorizing, or you could just do the really easy way of 10 minutes a day and how to articulate and speak with music. I don't know what he means by that. I don't know I'm not sure what he's meaning. He's saying 10 minutes of practice a day will allow you to articulate and speak with music. Okay, I don't know what that means. I'm not sure how you would show that as in terms of evidence.
Most people don't realize that they can play hundreds of songs on pitch, and you're going to learn English by copying what you might be able to sound like you're speaking English.
Right.
The language, you can't express yourself. And it's the same in music. A lot of people spend weeks and weeks, months and months memorizing versus just going through a very simple way, step by step, 10 minutes a day, really how to articulate and speak with music.
Sorry, that was the end of the video. So yeah, so he's talking about how, you know, we can learn language one word at a time without understanding it, but just copying. And then I wanted to kind of look at this next video, because this is a video where he is going to show us how to do something. So what I'm looking for is
in 10 minutes.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, what I'm looking for then is his ability to show us, not by parrot fashion, but to teach us how to do something that isn't like teaching language, one word at a time, copy me, copy me, copy me, parrot fashion, but that he's actually going to show us how things work and how we can express ourselves through music by understanding what we're doing. So let's have a little look and see if that's what he does.
I'm going to teach you how to use the piano to feel good in 10 minutes.
Excellent. Everyone likes to feel good. Everyone likes to feel good. I'm not quite sure what that means. I'm assuming he means that in the 10 minutes he's going to show you how to do something that will make you feel good about yourself or feel good. That's fine. I've got no real issue with that, other than it's a little bit vague what the learning objective is there. I think if I said that to one of my pupils, I feel like they would probably look at me and think, okay, what exactly are we doing then?
We're going to start with the left hand. It's really easy.
Okay, we're going to start with the left hand. Great. We just need 4 fingers. Okay.
You need 4 fingers. It's going to go. And then you kind of just rock back on these 2 fingers. And then repeat. The right hand.
Okay, so he's shown us the left hand there, which is fine. Now, I appreciate this is a short video and perhaps he goes into more detail in a longer form, but he's shown us the left hand. and he's explained nothing. He hasn't told us what the notes are. He hasn't told us anything about the rhythms, what key the piece is in, what's actually happening in the left hand. What is the left hand actually doing? He's kind of shown us note by note, and we are to copy or parrot that back to him. See where I'm going with this?
It's really difficult. You're going to put it like this to start with, and then just jab until you die.
So you're going to put it like this, and you're going to jab until you die. So that's kind of, if we get rid of all of the kind of dramatic, gesticulations there, you're going to put your hand there. Is, for me, the equivalent of saying to someone who's learning, say, English, and English isn't their language, it's the equivalent of me saying, you're going to say the word hello. You're going to copy me. I'm going to say hello, and you say hello. And that person says hello. They don't know what hello means because it's not their language. They're just copying what I've said. Now, this is exactly what he's doing. He's saying, put your hand there, and then just start hitting it in a really fast and complicated rhythm. Now, how is a beginner supposed to process that? Yeah, they can kind of maybe have a look at where his fingers are, but look at what he's doing.
Put it together.
Now, to get a beginner to take 3 notes and then rapidly hit them like that is not easy, because you have to develop finger strength in order to play multiple notes down at the same time, and to play them at speed is also quite challenging. Now, unless he's referring to a level of pupil who has already some technical skill that will enable them to play chords, then this isn't going to be possible. I mean, if I gave that to a beginner pupil and said, look, put your hand there and then just do this, they're not going to find that very easy to do. And again, he hasn't told them anything. He hasn't told them what it is. I mean, I can see what it is. It's a G minor chord. And if my pupil was learning this, I would tell them this is a G minor chord. And quite possibly, they would then say to me, if they're really kind of on it, they might say, oh, what's a G minor chord? What does that mean? And then I would continue onwards. So there's so much learning that's getting missed here. He's missing talking about tonality. He's missing talking about chord types. He's missing out on all kinds of stuff. Now, I'm not quite sure what's happening as well with his finger positioning here. I mean, he's using fingers 1, 2, and 3.
Put it together.
I wouldn't play a G minor root position triad with fingers 1, 2, and 3 because technique-wise, that's not great, because you're kind of getting what I call the claw. When you use fingers 1, 2, and 3 for a chord, you're getting a claw. And these 2 fingers here are now redundant, and they're usually all curved up and they're redundant. Nothing's happening. Whereas, generally speaking, you'd want to play a triad with 1, 3, and 5. Now, 2 and 4 are redundant, but they are in such a position that the muscles are still being worked, because they're having to hold their position. And it's quite hard, because you'll find that those fingers want to go up, and to keep them steady takes quite a lot of finger strength. But if I'm just using 1, 2, and 3, and these are just tucked behind like this, these aren't working. There's no strength, no muscle strength here at all. So if I just go back and just show you that again, I would be very uncertain about taking lessons from someone who's playing a G minor chord with fingers 1, 2, and 3, and not even telling you that it's a G minor chord, when he's just said in his other video that you shouldn't learn just by, like with language, 1 word at a time, so you don't understand, but you just copy. But this is exactly what he's doing.
Put it together and we get...
I mean, look at his fingers 4 and 5. They're just doing nothing at all. And a beginner isn't going to be able to play this. So this is the thing I find a little bit frustrating, is that he seems to be pointing it towards people and saying, you don't need to know anything about music to make fantastic music. Just follow these steps. And then he does this. And this is not possible for someone with no skill or complete beginner. It's just not possible unless there's some kind of prodigy. To do that would be very, very difficult. And even for someone who has been playing the piano for a little while, that still takes a bit of coordination, to get that 6/8 rhythm in the right hand, and then you've also got a different rhythm going in the left hand, is not easy. And certainly not the right fingers, in my opinion. So let's just get to the end.
Sun in the sky, you love it. If you want to get started On piano, click here and I will send you a ticket to my live online masterclass for free.
Okay, yes, I'm not going to talk too much about his masterclasses because that's for another video. But my issue is that the way that he's pitching it is that anyone can do it. Now, he said 10 minutes at the start of this video. He's going to make you feel good in 10 minutes doing this. Now, this would take longer than 10 minutes to put together unless you're already pretty technically secure. And I think it would be demanding for a complete beginner to do. And he's taught them nothing. All he's doing is copy me. Put your hand here and copy me, which in his other video, let's just go back. And I do want to kind of go back so I can kind of just cross-reference.
Is that they can play hundreds of songs on piano in like a few hours instead of memorizing a song. Look, memorizing, especially as we get older, takes a really long time, and it's also really inefficient. Imagine I teach you English and you're going to learn English by copying what I say. With enough time, you might be able to sound like you're speaking English, but you actually don't know what you're saying. You can't think in the language. You can't express yourself. And
so it's exactly the same. His analogy to learning a language is exactly the same to the way he's teaching music there. He is teaching you to copy, and you're not learning anything there. Oh, hi, just saw the comment there. Hello. Hi, Eric. How are you doing? Welcome to the live stream. I imagine people might watch this on catch up, but I just wanted to kind of talk about this tonight. It's about a guy called Stephen Ridley. You can YouTube him and you'll find there's quite a lot of information about him. Not a lot of positive stuff. I'm trying to steer away from the kind of the other side of things, which is to do with Scientology and scams and stuff, but more talking about his piano methodology and how, as a piano teacher, I find it very, very difficult sometimes when people come out and say and do these things, and they have such a big monopoly over the platform that they are seen by thousands of people, that I feel like they're just misleading people. And I wanted to show these two videos as kind of proof that there's a conflict and a contradiction between what he's saying and what he's doing. And as I said in the second video, where he actually shows you what to play, there's some technical limitations there as well. So I'm going to move on to my next part, which is actually my philosophy in teaching. So I'm going to come back if I take this off the screen. So I am a piano teacher, and I've been teaching piano for a long time. And so I feel like I know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm the best in the world, but I am a pretty good teacher. And I've got a lot of my pupils through exams, and they've done really, really well. And one of the things that frustrates me as a piano teacher is that when I get new pupils, well, I say new pupils, when I get pupils who come to me who are coming from other teachers, I get a good kind of idea as to what that teacher has taught them, or what kind of things that the pupil has learned. And similarly, if a pupil of mine went to another teacher, I would want to feel that they were well equipped, so that they would go to their new teacher and they would be able to demonstrate a knowledge of piano. But I've got pupils that come to me from other teachers, and it is apparent that the teacher has taught them very little. And you might say, well, how do you know? How do you know? Well, they'll put their music in front of me that they've had from their previous teacher, and it'll be absolutely caked in all the notes, just all the notes written in for them, every last little detail. And when I look at the music, I'm just horrified, because I think to myself, the music is telling you what to do. That's what the music is there for. So why are you writing all of this stuff all over the music to tell you what the music is already telling you? And that's because it's an easier way to do it. It's a shortcut. It's easier, like this Stephen Ridley guy, to say, put your fingers here and play what I play. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but just do that and you'll be brilliant at the piano. And it's the same with this, writing everything on. And that takes me back. I haven't got a video of Stephen Ridley to show you, but this is something that he said. He has in his mind this idea that music is this strange alien language written in hieroglyphics. And I know a lot of people who get put off by learning music and learning to read music because in their mind, they've been conditioned to think that reading music is this incredibly complicated thing to do. And it really isn't. And to sort of make it sound like these alien hieroglyphics, is another way of putting people off. Because if you say that, if you class yourself as a piano guru who's charging thousands of pounds to give a course to you, and you come out and say something like that, you are going to put the fear of God into people. They're going to think, oh my goodness, I was thinking about learning to read music, but I won't now. Not after he said that. If it's I can't do that, and you completely put people off reading music. And I think musical literacy is really, really important. You can learn to play music without reading a single note, but you lose so much in the process. Musical notation is not just a language. It's not just a way of writing music down in symbols. It's a personal language as well. It has its own little quirks based on each composer. Every composer writes their music in a certain way. They use certain types of notes. Their language is very specific, to the point where you can look at a piece of music and you can kind of almost, before you know who it's written by, get a sense of who it's by. Because every composer, every nationality has their own style that is reflected in the music. And when you become intimately sort of connected to a piece of music that you're learning and really understanding how this piece has been constructed and the kind of nuances, it just gives you this massive amount of extra satisfaction about what you're learning. And it's a bit like reading a book. You could read a book. I mean, let's say you've got a novel, okay? I can't think of any examples, but let's say you pick up a book from the bookshop and it's laid out like a book, but when you actually read the book is basically just a synopsis. It's just a basic breakdown of what's happening. This character says this, and then they go here and they did that, and the reason they did that was to get here, and then the story kind of ends. Whereas if you actually had the full story laid out with all the nuances, you start to work out, oh, this character did this because of this in their backstory, and then you start to learn more about the character, and you start to kind of get so much more detail and information about that character and the story and the plot line that you just wouldn't get if someone just wrote it down in very simple kind of language. So I find it really frustrating when he does that, and he makes it out that reading music is some kind of alien language. It really is not. It is not. And it's one of the things that I teach very, very early on. I'm not into babyfying, even to children. Even when I'm teaching children, I'm not interested in teaching them like babies. Okay. And now this is a philosophy that I have, and I know other teachers will be different. It's not to say that you have to be really dry in your teaching, but I want my pupil, even if they're only 6 or 7 years old, I want them to know what it is we're doing. I don't want to teach them a babyfied version that then I've got to reteach when they're 10. Now that they're a bit older, I want them to learn what music is now and forever, not what it is now because it's all babyfied and look big. Oh, look, this note's got big smiley faces, and let's all sing a smiley face song. I just don't work like that. And then what happens is then the pupils that I have, they, after 2 or 3 years of learning the instrument, they can read fluently. They understand what most of it is. Yeah, they might be a little bit slow in places, but they understand what it's all about. And that's my philosophy. And when I'm teaching piano, I don't do a lot of helping. Quite often I will sit there and I won't really do much helping at all unless it's really, really necessary, because that pupil has to know what to do. Now, unless they completely don't know what to do, then obviously you step in and help. But if they know what they've got to do, there's no point me jumping in every 5 seconds and kind of reassuring them or pushing them forward. They've got to know. Sometimes I'll have a pupil and they'll be looking at a bar of music that's unfamiliar. I know that they can read music, and they'll look at me as if they're waiting for me to tell them what the notes are. And I'll be like, your notes are just there, and I'll point to their music, and then they'll look at it, and then they'll work it out, and then they'll do it. But it's almost this instinct that that they are expecting me to tell them what the notes are. But I've taught them how to read music, so they know how to read the music. They just have to do it themselves, and that does take discipline, granted. But a lot of the time when I'm teaching the piano, I try to sit back a little bit and allow them the time and the space to try to work it out. I will demonstrate where needed, but again, I don't like to over demonstrate because then I've noticed that if I'm demonstrating a lot and they're watching my hands, they're just watching my hands. They're just doing what Stephen Ridley's doing. They're just thinking, oh, his fingers are there. I'll just put my fingers there and hopefully that'll be okay. But it isn't okay. They need to know. So that was the other thing I wanted to discuss. Now, this is an interesting one, so bear with me on this one. Music is not fun. Well, yes and no. So, yeah, let me try to explain what I mean by this. Often with music, people describe it as it being fun. Music is fun. Music should be fun. Everyone loves music. It should be fun. We need to make it fun. And yes, music is fun, and it's an enjoyable experience. I will not argue with that. But music is a skill and a craft and a discipline. So we have to just be careful that we don't just say music is fun. Do what you want. Music is fun. You go for it. You know, if you want to feel good, just sit down and in 10 minutes you'll feel amazing because you've made music, even if you're just whacking the keys and you're just doing whatever. That is fun for some people, I guess. I think for me, music is fun. The process of learning how to play something and the satisfaction and reward that comes with it, that's fun. It's like, oh, I can play this piece now, and I worked hard. I worked hard on that, and I actually sound pretty good, you know, and I've learned how all of this works. That is fun. And I would compare it to, say, archery. Now, archery can be good fun, but it can't just be fun, can it? You can't just be like, hey, I've got myself my bow, I've got my arrow. Let's have some fun, everyone. And I'm shooting it everywhere because it's just good fun. I don't need to know anything. I don't need to know any techniques. Get rid of all the techniques. Let's just have fun. And then someone's got an arrow in their eye. Archery requires skill. It's a craft. It's a technique. It's a sport. It requires a lot of concentration, discipline, focus. You need to understand how it works. You need to understand how the bow, how everything works. It can still be fun, but you have to know how to do it. And for me, that's what I'm saying here, is that sometimes when people just say to me, oh, music's fun. Music should just be fun. That sometimes just makes me uncomfortable, because fun time with music is people just grabbing instruments and having at it. Oh, that was good fun. I was just hitting those drums like crazy. Oh, that was fun. Did you see me? I was just whacking the keys. Oh, we made lots of sounds and noises. That was great fun. That was fun. That was really funny. But of course, to someone who's musical, it's like, okay, that's a lot of noise and not much, not much fun for me to listen to. So I think for me, and Stephen Ridley is very much on this. He's very much about, let's just have fun. And I don't want to sound like a Grinch, you know, you can have fun, but for me, music is a skill and a craft, like woodwork, you know, to kind of craft a beautiful woodwork item or piece. You know, think about all that skill and technique and dedication you need. You can't just get your tools and start having at it because it's fun. You can't do that. Yeah, music isn't as dangerous, perhaps, as my examples, but you get the idea that it should be fun, but the fun comes from the process of learning and unpacking and unfolding. So, yeah, that's my final point there. I did put comments or questions. Obviously, there's no one currently here in the live chat. I'm sure if Stephen Ridley was here, we'd have a lot more people in the chat. But if you do have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments box. And I'll be sure to answer them. But yeah, that was my video for this evening. This is my first live stream in a series of live streams talking about different topics. And I just wanted to talk about, Stephen Ridley, his philosophy, and how it differs to my philosophy, and the reasons why. And hopefully I've explained my reasons why the two videos that we watched at the beginning kind of irk me a little bit, because they're just misleading, and they don't teach anyone anything other than to just parrot and copy, which is exactly the point he made about not parroting and copying. So it's a real contradictory mess there. Now, Stephen Ridley, if you're watching this video, which I'm sure you're not, but if you are, I would be more than happy to have you on a live stream to discuss things in a non-combative way. It's not about attacking or belittling, but it's about having an open and honest dialogue about teaching piano. And the thing is, for me as well, just as my final point is that I don't consider myself a piano teacher. I consider myself a music teacher, because even when I'm teaching the piano, I want my pupils to understand the context of music. I want them to know why they're doing it, what they're doing, and the bigger picture. Because what we forget sometimes is a lot of these pieces that these pupils are playing, be it for exams or for fun, is written by someone. A real human being has written that, and it may have been written by someone 20 years ago or 200 years ago. And I think that's a big deal. I think it's amazing to think that we are playing pieces of music that was written down on paper, using this universal language, or hieroglyphics, as Stephen Ridley would call them, using this universal language that we still understand today, that someone wrote 200 years ago. I think that is magical. I think that's absolutely magical. And to have people like Stephen Ridley make reading music and sheet music and notation this bad boogeyman of music that takes all the fun away, and you mustn't have to learn to read music. It's just all boring. It's rubbish. I think it's a horrible idea when you've got composers from 200 years ago who are long gone physically, and yet their music lives on and is played daily by people. I think that is magical. I think that really is. It's like a little time traveling machine, isn't it? Sheet music. It enables you. I would love it if someone in 100 years' time played a piece of mine. That would be, obviously I'm not going to know about it, but the thought that it could be played by someone 100 years from now is wonderful. A wonderful thing, and should be preserved. Not everything has to be music, sheet music. There needs to be a balance. Oh, hi, Blood Nose. I'm finishing up now, actually. So, everything should be balanced. But to kind of think that you can learn to be a good piano player just by watching this guy, and to pay £2,000 or sometimes up to £3,000 or £4,000 for the privilege is uncomfortable, to say the least. And I know there's many people who feel the same. But of course, me and Stephen Ridley are in different strata. I'm down here. I'm just doing the legwork, and he is kind of up there like this kind of superstar. I mean, just watch his videos. It's that's another thing that I have an issue with, is that playing the piano is more than just hitting it really hard and really fast. Yeah, it might look impressive and sound mildly impressive if you smack the keys as hard as possible and play them as fast as possible, but there's no musicality there. Being able to play sensitively and expressively is a whole different ball game. I can't play the drums, but if a drum kit was put in front of me and I had to play those drums as loud and as crazy as I wanted, I could do that. But if someone said, right now we want you to play this rhythm, it's a little bit more of a complicated rhythm, and we want you to play it really soft and delicately and controlled, now that's much harder, much harder. So when I see people playing the piano really loud and really fast all the time, that tells me that they don't have a secure piano technique. They can do one thing and one thing only, but beyond that, their technical faculties are limited. And I've not heard Stephen Ridley play anything expressively, if I'm honest. Most of it is loud, fast, and brash. So that's my signing off point. Thank you for those who did stop by. I imagine people might watch this on catch up. So if that's the case, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you can like and subscribe. And I'll see you for my next video. I haven't really set a plan yet as to when, but I'm going to try and do weekly videos to talk about things. So anyway, thank you very much for stopping by. I'm going to see now if I can finish this live, as I'm getting used to doing it all myself. And I'll see you all in the next video.
Hello. Hello. Well, that was weird, wasn't it? So I am going to end the live stream now. After a bit of a strange moment there, I thought I had clicked on end stream, but alas, I obviously hadn't. So sorry for the terrible camera angle. Goodbye, everyone. And if you made it to this part, this blooper part of the live stream, you have won 1,000 gold coins because you made it to this magical moment that should never have been. So I hope you enjoy it. And I'm going to do my best to end the stream now. Let's have a go.